Welcome back to Financial Independence 101. This is Mike. Today I want to talk to you about a follow-up to the presidential debate and what's going on with Biden and what people are thinking is going on. I have to admit that I was not at all shocked by Biden's performance. It's exactly what we've seen all year, and for the most part, at least the last 2.5 years. And I'll get into that. What I am shocked about, though, is that all of the people that have been blocking and tackling, hiding what's going on with Biden and his mental decline and the fact Biden's not really running the country, Biden's not making any decisions, he doesn't even get to pick what he eats for lunch, in my opinion. But I was shocked their response when I watched the after debate. It was like, yeah, that's the debate. That's how it goes. That's what I expected. And then all these people acting like, oh my gosh, Biden's got mental decline or something. He just can't do this job. That shocked me that they said that. Every one of them. What also shocked me, I'll tell you even more of the stuff they said that also shocked me that they let this information out. We'll get into talking about this and more, discussing the possible replacements, and also why it's disgusting that nobody's discussing who should be replacing them coming up. All right, so getting into this debate, it really was Trump did a fantastic job. It's funny because Biden just mumbled a whole blah, 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 mumbled a whole lot of stuff. And then Trump literally took it and says, I don't understand what you just said. I have no idea what he just said. He doesn't have any idea what he just said. But let's get into talking about how he's destroyed Medicare. And it's just one setup for Trump to just take over and show. If you look at these people side by side, if you look at Trump and Biden side by side, he's got his mental capacity there. He's the one that's running the show when he's in charge. Biden, you could just tell this dude's not making a decision. He hasn't had to make a decision in a long time. He doesn't do anything. He barely gets to eat that one ice cream cone every month. But I mean, it's such a big difference here. And I don't want to bust on Biden for his mental decline. I actually feel sorry for the guy. It's elder abuse. He should be able to just sit at home and watch TV and just yell at the TV and be mad that Trump lowered taxes, be mad that energy prices are going down and people can afford life again. That's what he should be doing in his older age, not being a puppet, not being Weekend at Bernie's. After the debate, Jill Biden had to show up, there was no audience, but Jill was there. That's interesting. And she had to help him off the stage, just take step 1 or 2 steps down the steps. That was felt like an eternity watching it, but I don't have that clip. I'm not going to be putting any clips in here because CNN's already made all kinds of threats, and I'm just not going to be part of all that. So I could put some pictures and not get in trouble or anything. But anyhow, Jill Biden also talks to him like he's a 5-year-old. Joe, you did so good. You answered every question. You remembered some facts. And I was like, that is so condescending, but it's her real life. It's her every day. Her every day dealing with her husband in mental decline and his entire presidency. It's not just like it happened yesterday. This is the Joe Biden that I see every time he speaks. And even 2 years ago, 3 years ago, when he says, they tell me I'm not allowed to answer questions, I'll get in trouble. He's been saying this. He has been maybe he's asking for help when he says weird stuff like that. So this is when it starts to look like a setup, because I really expected the post game to be the same as it's been every single time. Biden gets up, does a poor performance of a speech, a poor performance of everything he does, and then they just talk about how wonderful he did and so great, and Biden was such an inspiration and all this, and bad Trump. Well, they did do bad Trump stuff. Trump lied about everything. But this was a shocker when all these people that are always playing defense for Biden were acting like, oh my gosh, what just happened? He's a mental decline. It's just so bad. And then all of the puzzle pieces start to fall into place. I mean, even Jon Karl. So Jon Karl, the resident Trump hater, he wrote 3 books on hating Trump. So, I mean, that's just where he is on it. But even he was saying that he has a straight line to Democrat politicians that he was chatting with during this, which is another thing, which I should just hit that now. How does this media have a direct line to Democrat politicians that they can call up and chat with? I mean, that to me is wrong. That the Democrats can actually just tell John Carl, this is what we want you to talk about. This is what we want you to say. This is how we want you to act. I mean, he admitted that. He's admitting this on national TV, that he's got a direct line to these politicians. And so does every other reporter saying the same. It's not just him, though. Everyone said that they had sources inside and they were directly in contact with these Congress people. Anyway, the thing is that John Carl admitted that something is going to have to happen. They're going to have to replace him. And John Carl's like concerned. Like, can we do it? Can it be done? It's going to be a lot of work. They're going to have to open up the convention. They're going to do all this stuff. I mean, John Carl's deep concern is, can we get someone else in there? And this almost looks like a setup because it was already sort of leaked in January. Now, this story broke in January, and this is February 1st, but people were trying to call this a conspiracy theory. So anytime that you get too close to the truth, Democrats are like, call it conspiracy theory, then nobody will believe it, and we can just go back to doing whatever crazy stuff we do. And that's the way it's always been. It's just call it a conspiracy theory, and no one has to worry about it. But this was Obama secretly plotting to replace Biden with Michelle Obama for the 2024 election. Again, I don't know 100% what's going to happen, but I do know that even on February 1st, we knew that Biden was unfit to be president. We knew January 6th of 2021 that Biden was unfit to be president. But anyway, this is one of those things, is stories get swept under the rug, call it a rumor, they call it all this conspiracy theory and all this kind of stuff. But what were they saying back then? The 60-year-old former First Lady and Barack Obama have reportedly been whispering to potential donors and Democratic strategists, are said to be eager to make it happen, as concerns about Biden's cognitive health grow ahead of his potential re-election, where he's likely to face off with an energetic Donald Trump. White House sources say Michelle's takeover is being carefully crafted. And this is February 1st. And here's another excerpt from that article. But still, it all says about the same thing. They were planning this back in January. Now, a lot of people were talking about Gavin Newsom taking a run for office for president. And the thing is that even people within his own party and all the political commentators, they say that he's got too much baggage from California, because pretty much every policy he's passed in California has been detrimental to the citizens of California. You would think that you'd pass at least one policy that would help one citizen somewhere. Well, I guess it helps the super ultra wealthy, and then the poor and the homeless just get worse and worse and worse, and housing's unaffordable. It's restaurants are closing because of the $20 minimum wage nonsense, and then the people that make the $20 minimum wage don't have a job anymore because the restaurant's closed. And some of them that still have a job, few might be better off, but as a whole, the whole industry for fast food is on shaky ground in California. And that's just one of hundreds of bad things he's done in California. Mass exodus of people living there because they're running away from this guy in California now. This is the guy they're running away from California. But anyhow, people say that all the baggage that Gavin Newsom has from California would hold him back. And I gotta say, if he ever was president, that's one of the most terrifying things I could conceive. He'd literally try to tax the air you breathe. What I found interesting in the last day and a half since the debate, that absolutely nobody in the political spectrum, nobody at all, none of the talking heads, none of the reporters, none of these people that do the blocking and tackling for Biden, have brought up Kamala as a possible next president. And that's strange. And it's almost like, why would you bring up Kamala Harris? Because as vice president, you're supposed to be the creme de la creme, the best that the Democrats have to offer, because you're going to be taken over if something happens to the president, especially when we already knew he was in the middle of decline when he was elected, or not elected, but appointed, because that's what Democrats do. They place and appoint people. They don't believe in really electing people. But anyway, Kamala here should be considered. The talk should be, all the eyes should be on her, right? I mean, isn't that how the political system works? Shouldn't you follow the hierarchy that we've already put in place, that the Democrats have put in place? Or is she there for another reason? Is she purely just optics? Her whole job is just for whatever reason, because she's a female, she fit the demographics that they wanted to just plug in, but yet had no experience and really was not able to take over as president if something happened to Biden. I mean, this really is alarming more than anything else, that absolutely nobody is looking to Kamala as the next president. Isn't that, I mean, don't you have a problem with that? Shouldn't Kamala have a problem with that? I mean, or does she just know her role? She's playing a role. Is she an actress playing a role? I mean, what's going on here? There's no hierarchy in our government. I don't know. Well, it's the Democrat Party. None of it has to make sense. Well, that's all I got to say. It'll be interesting to see what happens going forward. I mean, they obviously had Biden out he was at another rally, and he was trying to generate some funds, some fundraiser, and he had his teleprompter, and he was able to do what he did in the State of Union speech the day after. So, are they going to try to stick with him? Are they going to replace him? What's going to happen going forward? It'll be interesting to see, but everybody in the Democrat Party believes that he cannot beat Trump at this point. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments below. Like and subscribe. Financial Independence out.